Welcome back to Just the Facts, y'all. My name is Jimmy, and we are back here with another Texas Longhorns preview and prediction. OU week, man, and I just noticed like literally 2 seconds ago that I'm wearing red, and I shouldn't be during this week, but it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Big week against OU, as always. First time it's an unranked matchup since 1998, I believe. So before I was even born, at least one of either Texas or Oklahoma has been ranked every year going back to 1998, which was the last year that neither team was ranked. It's already has a weird type of vibe to it, a weird type of feel, but it's still going to be intense. It's still going to be, highly anticipated. It's still going to be very competitive, I think. So regardless of how mediocre the teams are, at best, that these teams are, it's still going to be a game worth watching and worth paying attention to. But before we get into all that, I will do a West Virginia recap. But before we get into that, make sure to like and comment, share, subscribe, man. It's really going to help me grow this channel. We're going to put out more Texas content lately out here. I'm really going to kind of gear my focus towards football, mainly Texas football, and then NFL. Every Sunday I keep up with that, so I'll be able to speak on that as well. As far as basketball, NBA, college, go follow Just the Facts Hoops. I'll put a link in the description if I remember. Y'all can go follow me there. If y'all are interested in basketball, I will move the basketball content over there. But quick recap of the West Virginia game. I was low-key kind of impressed of how we came out and dominated early on. And this was a rare type of win for us. It was a stress-free win. We didn't have to worry about it deep into the fourth or nothing like that. It was just smooth sailing. Obviously, we would like to keep our foot on the necks and live up to the all gas, no brakes mentality, with, kind of still having that our foots on their necks, so to speak, and keep the gas going. But we kind of slowed down towards the end, which was fine. We didn't put the game in danger or anything. But against better teams, maybe a comeback is there. We've seen it last year against OU, so that's just a nitpicky thing. But we opened up the playbook for Hudson, or at least the playbook was catered to Hudson's strengths, and that's something we haven't seen yet until this game from Sark, and it was really good to see. We got Hudson moving in the pocket. We had him the quick game was at his disposal. The screens to Whittington, the screens to Sanders. Got some trickeration in there. Worthy ended up throwing a touchdown. So it was an overall better performance, and this is what I like to see, us giving Hudson a chance, because that was one knock on Sark as a play caller. Whenever Hudson was in the game, we would kind of dial it back, and it was obvious that that's what was happening. I guess he wasn't trusting him, or I know Card isn't capable of making some throws, but you just got to let the guy play to his strengths at least, and that's what we did. And he looked sharp, man. He missed a couple deep balls still. That one to Worthy was egregious, but and then the other one to Worthy that ended up being a touchdown probably should have been a pick, but that's just some nitpicky things there. Overall, it was a really good game from Hudson Card, and I just want to say this about him: he deserves a lot of credit, because one, he's playing injured right now. He's been injured since the Alabama game, along with Quinn, but Hudson Card has been able to play. He's been healthy enough to play, but he's still banged up. You'll still see him limping around. You'll still see him hobbling a little bit, but he's still going to go out there. He's still going to run on 3rd and 20 and get a first down if we need it. And he's done that. He's used his wheels, and I appreciate his toughness and his leadership from that standpoint. Also, I do appreciate him improving as a player. was not good in the pocket last year, especially in the Arkansas game. You kind of saw that, if you bring a little bit of pressure on him, he'll just fold or kind of panic or, just kind of not know what to do. But now we see him when he ever gets pressure, he can navigate the pocket better. He has better pocket presence. He has better internal clock, is what they say. And he knows how to when to just escape pressure and run with it. And so it's making decisions a lot faster, and we love to see that. So commend Hudson Card there. The great energy that we had at home, can it carry on to a neutral environment for 4 quarters or even on the road for 4 quarters? Under Sark so far, we haven't been a good road team at all, So this is a tough environment. Obviously, the Cotton Bowl, there's a lot of adversity going to come regardless of how bad OU looks. And I want to see if we're going to keep that energy going as the game goes along, especially on the road. Shout out to the defense. We still haven't really allowed much deep, man. We still haven't had busted coverages downfield like that. We've had a couple ones, but, against Tech, against West Virginia, a couple plays that we would like to have back as a defense. But overall, the defensive backs especially, I want to kind of give credit to for doing their job, man, and not getting beat deep. The thing that kind of frustrates me the most about the defense is the scheme, actually, is like how we play so soft coverage-wise and the scheme, and that's more on PK and GP, but the players are only going to do what the coach is going to tell them to do, so it's like we can't really get too mad at the players, but I like how the back end is playing for sure. Led by Ryan Watts, who's very good in my opinion. Deshaun Jameson, solid. Jameer Johnson, Jaron Thompson, all those guys, man, I appreciate them. And it finally looked like in that West Virginia game that our front 4 or front 7 even matched our back end in terms of scheme, and they complemented each other. Sark said, I think it was after the Tech game, he kind of went off about how we weren't playing complementary football from that aspect, and how the D-line, their scheme didn't match what we were doing in the back end. And so it was just kind of all over the place, and that's how Tech was able to really shred us apart. And in this West Virginia game, you kind of saw the defense was in sync. The front 7, the back end, all in sync, and I don't know why that was a thing to kind of figure out, but hopefully we just stay on that right track and continue to have our guys in sync, because it's going to be a lot tougher. Everyone's job is a lot tougher when everything's not in sync. So, we still need to get home on sacks. We're getting more pressure. We got home a couple times with JT Daniels, but we need to get home even more, because I feel like we get good amount of pressure. We can't finish the job. We cannot finish the job just yet. And I'm just waiting for it, because I think we might be we are around the bottom of the conference in terms of sacks. We might be dead last if I'm not mistaken, but we're at the bottom in terms of sacks. But in terms of like pressures and everything, we got a good amount. So, if he can just finish out those plays and get the guy on the ground more often, create those negative plays, we should be good. Overall, very solid performance from the team. Now, moving on to Oklahoma. I got to get a sip of this water first, man, because we're about to go in on them. So, Oklahoma has lost the last 2 games. What was it, 55-24 to TCU? That one surprised me. The Kansas State one, not really, because they've had their number recently, and I'm like, oh, okay, like they lost to Kansas State again. What else is new? Adrian Martinez ran all over them, and even that game, Kansas State had full control of the game, and OU was just trying to play catch up the whole time. In the TCU game, I'm looking. I mean, TCU's probably still scoring right now. They're probably still scoring touchdowns. If they didn't hold back, they would have put up 70. But what is wrong at OU, man? Because, yes, they've had bad defenses in the past. Yes, their technique and scheme and overall talent on the defensive side has never been that good, going back to Lincoln Riley. But this what we saw this past weekend, I was shocked by it. I'm not gonna lie. I thought the 2018 Oklahoma defense was bad. This defense right here is 2018 Oklahoma defense bad, magnified times 10. And it's really strange out there. I was watching bits and pieces of that game and what happened? Well, I saw a lot of out of position, so the scheme was just not good from the first place, and that's on Brent Venables, the defensive guy. Their guys look like they aren't communicating in the back end. That's why, especially on 2 touchdowns that TCU had, there was no one within 15 yards of the receiver who caught the touchdown. That's no communication. That's no scheme. That's no that man. And they're the zone that they were playing. I guess I'm not sure if the guys are hip to it yet or they're still trying to figure it out. But there's coverage bust from guys running into the wrong zones and guys don't know which zone to cover. That's why guys are being left so wide open. And another thing, this is always bad with Oklahoma, but this was epically bad last Saturday, was the first person that has the opportunity to make the tackle at Oklahoma, they miss. It doesn't matter what it is. DeRicardo, Max Duggan, it didn't matter. The receivers, the first person who has a chance to wrap up and make the tackle for Oklahoma, they always miss it. They never get the guy down on the first tackle attempt. So it takes 2, 3, 4 guys to try to come corral this one guy, and that'll take a lot out of your defense. When it's a one-on-one, your guy can't make the tackle, or you're a linebacker, you can't make the tackle in the open hole, guys often running. Or, this is another bad thing Oklahoma has always had a problem with, taking very poor angles. I remember one run where the safety came down and he had an opportunity to make the tackle, and he kind of angled himself in a way to where he wasn't squared up with the running back, and the running back ran the other way, and the safety had to do a whole spin move, and by then he's lost. By then the running back's going to the house. Poor angles, poor tackling, guys out of position. These are all things we've seen at OU for years now. But Saturday, it looked epically bad, and it's scary bad because I haven't seen Oklahoma lose like that to a Big 12 team in so long. I don't even remember last time I remember them losing like that. Aside from the playoff games that they always lose and things like that, the last time I can remember OU getting destroyed in a regular season was by Ohio State, and that was when they had I think that's when they had Michael Thomas and JT Barrett and them, and they just came into Norman and whooped them. But by a Big 12 opponent, I'm not sure the last time I've seen Oklahoma look that bad. They've had games where they've given up 45 points, but they'll at least match it on the offensive end, and that's the problem too. Their offense isn't that great either. They don't have a Heisman caliber quarterback anymore. Dylan Gabriel's fine, and hopefully he's okay with the injury, but he's no Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Jalen Hurts, even Caleb Williams. No, he's not. He's not one of those guys. He's a step, if not a couple steps below those type of guys, and that's the problem. If your defense is going to be that bad, you have to make up for it with the offense, and the offense is cool, but it has to be more than just cool. In the first two games against UTEP and Kent State, they struggled in both of those games in the first half to score. They went off against Nebraska. Nebraska is horrible. And then the last two games, they've wet the bed. So this all goes back to Brent Venables and me saying that, is there a culture problem? Is there like a, it's the first time for him, first time being a head coach. Is there an issue with him managing everything? Is there an issue with something? There's an issue with something down there more than just, bad defense. There's something more. And OU's going to have to figure it out. They lost so much. It was so much turnover. I think that's what it is. Lincoln Riley gone. He took players with him. He took coaches with him. They have to retool. And I was one to think that Oklahoma wouldn't be that bad this year. I was saying they'll take a step back. They'll be a 9-3, 10-2 team. It's bad. It's bad. In this game, what I want to see. Now, I'm going to take the standpoint that Quinn Ewers plays, and Dylan Gabriel doesn't, because I think that's how it's going. If Davis Beville's getting the start for Oklahoma, we should win. And this is what I want to see. I want to see us get pressure on him at will. In the TCU game, whenever he came in, they got a little bit of pressure on him. He folded. They didn't even have to sack him. They got a little bit of pressure on him. He folded. Yes, now he's going to have the whole week to prepare. I get that and whatnot. But he's a inexperienced guy who hasn't played much. He's been in college but hasn't played much. He's going to be in the biggest game he's ever been in his career, in his life. How is he going to handle it? We'll see. But I want us to bring the pressure, see if he can hang in there, because I think Eric Gray is injured. He might be out. Major, I think he's out. So they even left to their third string running back. They're depleted. I think they have a wide receiver or two missing. I think Billy Bowman is out. They had another DB hurt last week too. So it's not looking good for Oklahoma from an injury standpoint as well, and that obviously doesn't make anything that better at all. So I want to say I feel bad for him, but I really can't, man, because we've had issues before like this, man, where it was us on the other end of injuries, us on the other end of horrible coaching, us on the other end of bad execution. Is it our turn of time? Our time to shine? So I know how this game is going to go. It's going to be competitive back and forth at some point, whether it be in the first half or the second half. It's going to be a competitive ball game. And I think in the first half, Oklahoma is going to settle it in a little bit. They're going to be heavy on the run game. That's why we have to dial it in, bring guys into the box, and let our DBs do their thing. I think we have to play this game plan, honestly, not thinking about it. I think we can play this game how we kind of played Alabama in terms of leaving our guys on islands and loading up the box. Because I'm not impressed with it's not that I'm not impressed with their wide receivers. I'm not impressed with the quarterback to get the ball to those wide receivers. But with the Alabama game, it was like, I'm not impressed with the wide receivers. I'm impressed with Bryce Young, but I'm not impressed with the wide receivers. And the wide receivers didn't look good in that game. They couldn't get separation, dropping passes, can't find a soft spot in the zone, things like that. The flip side to it is I don't trust a quarterback to get the ball to these wide receivers. And I think that requires a similar game plan. I hope we play like that defensively. Um, I'm scared of Marvin Mims, of course. He terrorized us last year, so obviously we know the guys that really have a lot of talent on them, the guys we really have to worry about. But I'm not worried too much about this Oklahoma offense, man. I'm really not. I'm really not. And for as much shit we can give the defense for scheme and things like that, against West Virginia, we gave up 20. Against UTSA, we gave up 20. Against Alabama, we gave up 20. Against ULM, we gave up 10, 3. So we've only given up more than 20 once, and that was to Tech on the road. And if we have Quinn, and our defense doesn't play well, what do they get to? 30 points? You think we're only going to score 30 points if we have Quinn Ewers out there? Come on now. So on the flip side, I think we're going to ease Quinn back into the game a little bit. I want to see how he looks. I wish he played the West Virginia game so he can ramp up for this game, but they wanted him back for this game. We need to establish the run game because what I've seen from their defense, it's not good. It's not good. And for as much shit as we gave Oklahoma defenses the last 5-6 years or so, in the past 2 to 3 years, they've had a pretty decent D-line. Now, those guys are gone, Perion Winfrey and Okoronkwo was years ago, but Perion Winfrey, Isaiah Thomas, Neville, guys like that we had to worry about. Gallimore, those guys are gone. They're not walking through that door. I'm not sure. Nick Benito. I don't think they're gonna have a guy like that this year because their front seven in previous years in 2019, 2020, their front seven was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. Their back end was still trash, but their front seven was serviceable. They know how to stunt and disguise pressures and things like that, and that's something our teams have struggled with against them. So if they still had that type of element to them, I'd be scared because our pass blocking is obviously not good. It's probably one of, if not the weakest part of our team is pass block. I mean, no, run blocking. I would feel more concerned if they had those type of guys, but they don't. So we should be fine there. We are a pretty good pass blocking team anyways. Our run blocking still needs to improve, man. But with how Oklahoma's lanes are in terms of like giving you lanes to run, Bijan might have a field day again. And he might have a field day regardless if he's getting any holes or not. He can create his own, make guys miss. We know what Bijan can do. I want to see us still play the quick game. I want to see us still take our fair share of deep shots. Getting everyone involved. Worthy, Sanders, Whittington, Casey Kane. We have all the talent, man. We have these guys to use them. And with Quinn there, I have no problem that we will. I have no problem that we'll execute. I have no problem that Sark will, free the playbook. That's fine. That's what we want to see. So the keys to the game is going to be like the overall energy of the game. Of course, that's always big in a rivalry game, the most unique rivalry game in college football. That's going to be a huge key because momentum switches so fast. We're victims of it. Back in the day, we were the suspects to it. Another key, I would say, is time of possession. And that comes back to playing complementary football. And I talked about it briefly, when I was talking about the problem at the University of Texas, y'all will see that video down below on my channel. But we can do a much better job of playing complementary football, and that'll be reflected in time of possession. Are we getting off the field, or are we allowing these 13, 14, 19 play drives that we've been giving up to Tech and UTSA? We didn't give it up really against West Virginia, but can we not give up those type of drives? What does that come back to? Well, being more aggressive defensively instead of playing a soft zone. So it's going to come down to the coaching. And then from there, obviously, will our guys execute and get off the field? If we can get off the field on defense, we get the ball on offense. Can we maintain the drive? Because there'll be instances, we haven't really seen it with Quinn, but at least with Hudson, we've seen instances where offense will move down smooth, nice and easy, every possession, right? It'll come a point to the game, though, where we have 2 or 3 and outs in a row, and we have to punt the ball. It's like, okay, what are we doing now? And the play calling gets very conservative. Once again, it goes back to the coaching on the offensive side as well. Is the play calling going to be conservative? If it's not going to be conservative and you're going to let the guys play and open up the playbook, let them do their thing, can the guys execute? And if the guys do execute, we should have a good amount of time of possession offensively, unless we're scoring on 70-yard bombs, which obviously you'll take that anytime. Which, is a possibility with Oklahoma's defense in front of us. So time of possession is going to be key in this game. And I think OU is going to try to take away time of possession. They're going to try to use it to their advantage with an inexperienced quarterback and kind of slow the game down for him. I think that's what they're going to be doing if Dylan Gabriel's not out there. So they're going to use that to their advantage. But we need to use time of possession to our advantage as much as possible. And the final key, I'll say, is how we start the game. Under Sark, we've been a pretty good opening team. We know how to come out the gate swinging. We've seen it so much this season and last season. We come out the gate swinging, we're fine, and then one thing goes wrong, we mail it in. That's how it's been. It's a rivalry game. I don't care how bad they look. We're not much better. We're better. We're not much better. We're going to have our run, probably in early stages of the game, maybe. They're going to have their run at some point in the game. If hopefully this doesn't happen, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. Quinn, comeback's rusty, throws the early pick. Oh, the crowd's going crazy on the OU side. Can we on the defensive side, can we settle in home to a field goal? Or, home to no points, get the ball back? Or we're going to let them take a shot and execute. If we muff a punt or muff a kickoff like we did last year, or we fumbled the kickoff, are we going to hold or are we going to just fold? Are we going to hold or are we going to fold? We go 3 and out. Are we going to hold or are we going to fold? They score on a 1-play drive or a 1 or 2 play drive. Are we going to hold or are we going to fold? That's what it's going to come down to. Mental toughness. That's it. All that being said, as a Texas fan, when I first saw how bad OU looked and then we ended up beating West Virginia later on, I looked at this game at first and I was like, yeah, if Quinn plays, it's going to get ugly. But me being a Texas fan, I got to dial it back a little bit because we cannot give our team that benefit of the doubt because they haven't done such to earn that, at least right now. We've seen many times in the past where we've underachieved, underestimated a team, got beat. This is another potential situation against the biggest rival. How are we going to approach this game coming into it before there's even a whistle blown? How is our team going to come into it? Oh, we got it. Be confident, but don't be like, oh, we got it, and take your opponent for granted. They will come and beat you because we're not good enough to go out there and sleepwalk and lollygag and come out with a win easily. We're just not like that yet. So we're going to have to take a very serious approach to this game, a very business-like approach to this game. If we do that, we will win this game. By how much? I don't even care. But I'll give y'all a score prediction. Texas 38, Oklahoma 30. I think for a good portion of the game, it's going to be some weird low-scoring game, but then everything's going to blow open. We're going to kind of pull ahead a little bit and take control because I don't see them scoring more than 30 against us. For Oklahoma to beat us, I think they'll need to go up to 40-plus to beat us. But our defense only give up 30-plus once. So why would I trust a backup quarterback in this type of environment to come out here and destroy us? So I'll have us winning 38-30. Worthy two touchdowns. Bijan 2 touchdowns. Quinn looks sharp in his return. And it's 10:57. And OU still sucks. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know y'all score predictions down below. Let me know y'all keys to the game. Other than that, this is Jimmy from Just the Facts, and I'm signing out. Peace.